And welcome back to Arizona, guys, and today we are actually going mountain bike riding, but before we do, we need to find out where the best trails are in relation to where we are. God, this truck's sick. And welcome to Bicycle Outfitters in Kingman, Arizona. The owner, Sarah, was very kind enough to actually tell us where the best trails are in the area, which we're going to have a look at. But before we do, we're checking out this awesome shop, which is fully kitted with everything that you want in the local area. There are two types of bike shops in the world. Those that go out the way to help and talk to you, and those that don't. And this one is definitely one of the good ones. And welcome to the White Cliffs Wagon Trail. Now, unlike the UK, America actually like mountain biking trails, and the local council put a shitload of money into rejuvenating some of the mountain bike trails here. And look at these trails, the way they undulate all over the cliffs, marked by the white paint on the floor. They were incredible. But make sure you've got some kind of medical insurance, because if you don't, the owner of the bike shop was actually telling us about a chap that got bitten by a rattlesnake, and it ended up costing him $77,000 in order to get the anti-venom and a lift to the hospital. But now we're actually going to ride some bikes in Sedona, and on the way through to Sedona we have to ride through Prescott, which is where in 2013 19 firefighters died in one of the worst bushfires that Arizona had ever seen. It was a very sad situation. They actually made a Hollywood film about it. The closer to Sedona we're getting, the higher the altitude. We're actually going to go through a town called Jerome, which is one of the most haunted towns in America. Now, the altitude of this town is 7,200 feet. Now, for someone that lives in England at pretty much sea level, it's kind of hard to breathe. Now, apparently the building here is one of the most haunted in America. People actually pay to stay there, the nut jobs. It's such a beautiful and arty town, and if you're in Arizona, I thoroughly recommend it. So we've flown 5,000 miles and driven another 400 in order to get to this amazing place, to tick something off our bucket list, which is Sedona. We're going to ride the hell out of this morning, but we've got to set off really early because the temperatures are getting ridiculous. So it's the evening before the ride, and the local bike shop, which is Thunder Mountain Bikes, said we could pick our bikes up so we could get out on the trails early because it is really hot here. Great shop, lots there. Have to say, the member of staff that we dealt with was stoned off her face. Now, smoking weed over here is completely legal, and there's a lot of. But for me, in a customer service environment, you don't really want to be talking to someone that's a zombie. My opinion. We are staying right next to the trails. We couldn't believe what a deal we've got at this place. This is the Bell Rock Inn, and it's right next to the Slim Shady Trail, which is perfect because that's where we're starting in the morning. After the conversion rate, it was only £86 per night for this whole studio. Amazing value. And then we realised why it was so cheap. It's basically because it's so freaking hot and no one comes here in the summer. So it starts to get busy in Sedona around November time. And off we go. This is a new experience for me. I love riding in new countries. The bike I hired was an Ibis Ripley AF. I have to say, being brutally honest, I didn't like this bike in the slightest. I thought it pinged off everything. The bike shop had my weight detail so they could set the suspension up for me.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Not sure they did that. But forgetting about the shit bike, just look at this place. There's nowhere else in the world you would get views like this. And I thought there'd be no grip whatsoever, being in desert and having a lot of dust. But I have to say, there was so much grip, I never have to worry about the bike slipping out or losing traction. But holy shit, this trail is technical. Doesn't look like it on the screen, but these rocks, there's a lot of them and they're quite hard to get over. Add that to the fact that I can't breathe properly because of the altitude. This is a tough ride. But I'm having to wait for Beck a little bit, and anyone that's ridden with Beck knows that she's a cross-country monster. So something's wrong. I can just tell by mannerism on the bike that she's not feeling too good at all. She's complaining about a severe headache and she's riding a hardtail. Not a good combination.
These are tough.
Now we set off at 6:30 in the morning and it's already 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a little concerning because I'm already halfway through my water. So at the moment everything here is scaring me. Not only am I worrying about snakes, I'm worrying about the heat.
You alright? You tanked?
Normally Bet can ride with her leg hanging off and she'd never ever complain, so I'm getting quite worried at this point.
Wow. So people actually get up this. Hi, morning, how you doing? Hello buddy. Beat the sun. I'm from the UK. Beck's from Arizona, so yeah.
You're used to it and you're not.
No, it's definitely not. I melt.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Holy shit, a friendly dog walker. We do not get that in the UK. Just kidding. It is a rarity though. Some of these sections actually look impossible to climb up, but I know they're not because I've seen people do it. I'd love to come back here again and just session some of these sections. I really do think we should have spent a couple of days acclimatising to Sedona before we actually rode our bike.
Oh baby, it's okay, I'd rather turn around.
I just need to adjust.
Okay, but while you adjust, I don't want you struggling, in pain, okay? This isn't worth that. Come on, let's go back that way. Let's do the, we'll get some tablets. No, we don't know what's ahead of us. It could be worse. Okay,
On the road.
let's please go back. Come on, turn the bikes around.
And that's Beck pretending that everything is okay because
But I think it is a two-way trail.
today was actually my birthday. And Beck planned this bucket trip ride just for me. That's how special of a person she is. But I am not going to risk and sacrifice her health for a day on the bike. But I have to say, I'm loving this trail in this direction a lot better than the other way. I am loving riding over here. So much flow, so much grip, albeit a crappy bike. I could just imagine bringing my Chromag hardtail here. That bike would be incredible in this kind of terrain. And there's no mud. That's something we've got nothing but of in the UK at the moment with this crappy summer we're having. So if you do want to ride over here, there are a few things that you should actually take into consideration before you even think about it. One, make sure you've got a hydration pack, or if you're only doing a short ride, make sure your water bottle's full. Make sure you're looking at the time of day that you're going. If you're coming here in June, Sedona is going to be roasting, so make sure you set off a little bit early so it's a little bit cooler for you. If you're coming from a country that's quite low altitude, I would suggest that you actually come here a couple of days before and just acclimatise to it, because it is going to be hard to breathe. And trust me, altitude sickness is no joke. I would also suggest you take some form of toolkit, definitely some plugs for your tyres, or an inner tube if you can. And the most important thing is, please let somebody know where you are riding and a time that you're going to get back. While we were here, at least 3 people on the news died of heat exhaustion.
Come here. Oh, my neck hurts. Come on, let's walk. We're nearly back now. Let's walk.
And if for any reason you get into trouble, get off the trails as soon as you can. Know your limits.
Sorry? No, you don't need a second. You need not to worry about doing this. Okay? It's fine. We've got our whole lives to ride.
So at this point we knew we had to get to a lower altitude, so we decided to call it a day, head back to Kingman, and just enjoy the ride back.